so much drama has occurred just from this little pet Highland cow right here. So recently I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and some people have been making videos talking about Animal Jam Classic updating and how the game updates and if it could even have like a entire new update in the game. I saw a lot of people talk about, well, if they're able to make a new pet, you know, the new pet Highland cow just came out last week. If they're able to make a new pet, why aren't they making new items in the game or making new animals as well for that regard? And well, I think this is a fair question to have, I guess, but a lot of these questions can be answered, and I've technically already answered them before. But there are some other things I want to talk about here that weren't answered in another video, like this video, for example, of why Animal Jam isn't updated anymore. Kind of talk about in this video the troubles WildWorks goes through with Animal Jam Classic and why they can't update it to the best of their ability in comparison to how they were updating it a few years ago in, let's say, like 2018, when they were still making new animals into the game. And while I think everything I said in the video about Animal Jam Classic not being updated anymore remains true, there are things I did miss in that video that have come to light since then that I think is important to note, especially with the kind of little bit of drama people have been discussing in the community because of this. Speaking of no updates though, my headdress giveaway. Yep, that's the segue we're going with. All you gotta do to enter the giveaway though is subscribe with notifications on, set to all, leave a like on the video, and then drop a comment down below with your username, status, and something you would like to see come to Animal Jam as an update. I think that would be pretty interesting. Extra entries can be found in the description below, and the giveaway does end at 35k, but enjoy the video. Okay, so first, I actually talked about this in my update video last week because I knew there were going to be comments about this, and sure enough, there was a large amount of comments about it, despite me saying in the video exactly this. There is a difference between making a new pet in the game and a new animal or item. Okay, there's a lot of different processes needed between those two things. I'm clumping items and animals together because they pretty much go through the same thing. But with pets, these little critters right here, these are just animations, 2D animations that are very easy to incorporate in comparison to stuff like den items and, you know, even new dens or something like that. They're probably more intrusive in terms of work, but they are still able to do this, and it's a lot easier for them to make a new pet in comparison to, let's say, a brand new animal or item for that matter. Matter of fact, I would like to think that Animal Jam adding pet golden reindeers back in December was their kind of trial run to see if, you know, new people or people would like a new pet type of thing, even though that was technically just a reskin. But they did actually have to go through some level of requirement of work of retexturing the reindeers in order to make them golden, so I would call that a trial run. People just kind of forgot about that though because they just chucked it in a bundle and didn't really make it really an attention grabbing type of thing, I would say. But to put it a bit into perspective, let's talk about animals and items here real quick. I'm not going to go on a lengthy rant like I usually do about stuff like this because I've already explained this a few times, but I do want to really just put it in perspective. For items and animals specifically, they have to mask all of these together and do a lot of animation, and also I think partial 3D modeling for animals specifically on Animal Jam Classic. Even though it is a 2D game, there is still somewhat of a 3D modeling process for animals specifically. Now, I believe there is 53 unique animals. This isn't considering, you know, the reskin animals with like enchanted eagles and, you know, patterned animals like this little spring bunny I'm playing as here. And I've rated every item on the game before, so I know how many roughly unique items are in the game. There's about 1,000 unique items in the game. And that's like a general estimate, but it's pretty accurate given, you know, I went through the entire Animal Jam wiki, okay, looking for how many unique items there are in the game to rate them. So there's roughly about 1,000 unique items in the game with 53 unique animals in the game. Not to mention every animation for every animal in the game also has a version of every item masked on it in the game. And once you start to add up all of those, you probably have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of animations. Just to put it into perspective really, how much work and effort was put into every animal and item into the game, which obviously is a very difficult process. Now, I will say one thing specifically, that Animal Jam is still able to add new animals and items into the game. It might be a little bit harder than they used to be, given that, you know, Flash is, you know, kind of it's not the great engine it used to be, that's for sure. But I would say the main troubles and roadblocks they kind of run into when making a new animal and item into the game is just they don't have enough people to do it anymore. They don't have enough time or people in order to make a new item or a new animal even even for Animal Jam Classic anymore. It's just not realistic for them anymore. I think a lot of people forget that as well. Animal Jam Classic is a quite WildWorks as a whole is a pretty small company, not as big as it used to be, and the amount of workers they have also the same. They probably have, I would say, 10 times less people working for them now in comparison to let's say 10 years ago when Animal Jam was in its absolute prime. And even out of the people that they have working for them right now, I doubt a lot of them know how to use or make things in Flash anymore, given that it is such an outdated game engine and technology. A lot of them are working with Unity, given that Animal Jam Mobile primarily uses the Unity game engine. And that's another thing too. WildWorks is mainly focusing on Animal Jam Mobile, given that it is making them the most money. Matter of fact, I've talked about that on the channel before. Animal Jam Mobile is doing exceedingly well for them, so it would not make sense for them to take people off of that to suddenly just update Classic again, now that it's got a little bit of attention over the summer. Well, I'm pretty sure I talked about this briefly as well on the channel. They're working on an entirely new game as a whole. Now, before all of you jump out of your seats, it's not related to Animal Jam. Matter of fact, I don't know if this game is still in production, but given the last time Nazara had like a kind of investor meetings where they talk about stuff like what their subsidiaries are working on, like WildWorks, because WildWorks is owned by Nazara. They typically talk about what they're working on, their kind of current plans and their future plans. It was referenced that they were working on a game entirely unrelated from Animal Jam that was going to be tested in beta like this year actually, so I don't know if it's still planned to happen. You know, maybe I'll try it out on the channel if it does end up happening still, but that is another key point. They're working on Animal Jam Mobile, and they're working on an entirely new game that's not related to Animal Jam. They don't have a whole lot of hands to set on Animal Jam Classic. I'm pretty sure Leora, a ambassador, pretty much came out and said that they had to hire a new person just to make this new pet Highland cow, which I guess could be a likely story. Flash is really outdated, so a lot of people don't know how to use it anymore, and many companies will not see it as like an asset to be used because nobody works with Flash anymore. As said, Animal Jam Classic is probably the only last game that still gets somewhat updated, that still uses Flash, let's be real, by an actual game company and not just like an indie dev studio. And as I said, I don't imagine a lot of the people working at WildWorks right now know how to use Flash. Personally, I don't know how to code in Flash, okay? I'm gonna say that now. But from the people I've talked to that do know, I've heard that it's not too complicated. I just don't think a lot of people know how to do it anymore because it's not really worth to do. For this last section of the video, I kind of just want to talk about Animal Jam Classic updating the game as a whole and kind of the way they have been updating the game. I saw a video recently by Grimly, very cool creator by the way, you should check them out. And I agree with a lot of what they said in the video for the most part, but on the, you know, to play devil's advocate here, I guess, some of it is kind of unrealistic, let's be real. We have to actually talk about Animal Jam's updates and content schedule for Classic for this part. So, of course, Animal Jam can update the game more, and to be honest, they've been updating the game a lot more this year, I would say, in comparison to the last few years on the game. I don't know if that's just recency bias or what, but it really feels like that. And I think the new pet really solidified that. But even looking at new items in the shop, like den items, that's technically new content. They've been making new dens as well. A lot of people will say these dens are just reskins, and while yes, a lot of them are, some of these dens are expanded, so, you know, it's technically new content, if you will. It's better than nothing, I would argue anyway. But even these little things, a lot of Animal Jam Classic players enjoy and love, and I would argue that I would like to see them do that a lot more on a frequent basis, maybe like once every 2 weeks like they used to do back in the day. I think Animal Jam Classic players would be a lot happier with that kind of content schedule, but realistically they're not going to do this, okay? You see, back in 2020 now, so 5 years ago, it's been that long, when Animal Jam transitioned the name of Animal Jam Classic to what it is now, Animal Jam Classic, from just the regular Animal Jam, they, I'm pretty sure, used the term sunset, which typically means like the game isn't going to be updated anymore. It's still obviously going to be maintained, but there isn't going to be new content come to the game, but they're still going to be, you know, releasing some stuff to keep the game afloat, just kind of returning old content essentially. And that's what they kind of have been doing. If you check the news, you know, you have the pet cheetahs, which we've seen come and go a few years. Same with the normal cheetah. This is available in the bundle, but you know, same thing. Same thing with coyotes here, pet bees, pet llamas. llamas, the regular llamas, fennec foxes, their kind of schedule content plan is to rotate everything around. So there is enough kind of content being available at all times of year so that it's not just the same thing over and over, and it's not just stagnated. The only reason a lot of people feel like it is, and it's dry and stagnated, because they're, I hate to say this because it's kind of ironic coming from me, but they're all terminally online and don't stop playing Animal Jam Classic. So of course it's not going to seem new to you. The whole premise of Animal Jam doing this, of rotating these kind of things out, is for people that are new to the game, because there is still new players coming to this game that aren't going to have seen these kind of animals before. Like, they haven't seen the pet cheetahs, they haven't seen the normal cheetahs, they haven't seen the coyotes, they haven't seen the llamas, etc, etc. So these are technically new content to them, and I would say it's pretty an even split probably between returning players and, you know, just kind of newly coming players to this game, if I had to guess. Well, I think it's definitely in Animal Jam's capable hands to just kind of release old items in reskins more often than they usually do, and, you know, even just reskin dens of parties and normal dens in different colors or whatever, and new den items in different colorways or whatever it might be. Same with pets as well. I'm sure they could make new pets on a more frequent basis. It just isn't kind of tied into their content schedule plan, I guess, and isn't a whole lot worth it a lot of the time. I imagine this kind of pet Highland cow thing as a whole was kind of a trial run of sorts as well, of an actual new thing into the game to see if it was going to be perceived well and if it was actually going to be worth it again in Animal Jam's eyes. So buy this pet cow so Animal Jam actually realizes that. Maybe if you haven't already. You know, who knows? They might decide to, you know, gear up that old project of Animal Jam being reworked again, but you know, I don't have much hope in that, given that there's been zero news on that since it was announced in that one interview. But I think at least if this pet is perceived well, they might at least wager on adding more new pets to the game at least, which would be pretty cool. I don't know about new animals or new items. I don't think that's ever gonna happen again, unfortunately, but maybe patterned animals would be in their ballpark. I know there's a few unreleased patterned animals in the game that they could definitely release. I could see them doing that, maybe. Also, one last side thing, I think the pet Highland cow thing is really funny because they made their Instagram post talking about it and, you know, teasing it before it came out. I'm pretty sure it was like their most liked Instagram post in probably years. And people engaged the hell out of it, so surely they see it, you know? Surely they see it at this point. I think Animal Jam's community as a whole is just a lot louder in comparison to Animal Jam Mobile's community anyway. I think that's the best way to sum it up. But hopefully you guys learned something. If you didn't already know a lot of this, maybe if I painted the picture a bit better for some of you, I don't know. But yeah, no hate to anyone, of course. You're all free to have your own opinions and stuff if you think Animal Jam is dumb for having the game set out this way, and you know, I would agree in some parts for sure, but I think if this game was a lot more like Animal Jam Mobile, I probably wouldn't be playing it anymore, because that game is literally a fever dream every time I log into it. I'm sorry, I just can't deal with that game anymore. I don't know what's happening on that game anymore. It hurts my brain when I log into it. Yeah, let's go wrap it up here. Big thank you to the members as well, always. I greatly appreciate you guys. There is a new member video out for you guys, exclusive to that crowd. If you want to join as a member on the channel, get some exclusive content, see your name here at the end of the video, as well as some other bonus perks, do make sure to hit the join button down below. I do greatly appreciate it, and it does greatly support the channel as well. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up here. I was going to have a different video out, but I thought, hey, you know what, I'll probably talk about this because it's kind of a hot topic. I think there's other topic that I want to talk about here soon as well on the channel, but you know, there's kind of another fun video on the way as well, but need to get my own plans in order, like Animal Jam does. Yeah, that's what I need to do. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.